We got Gerald Meerschaert back here on the program. Is going to be taking on Jack Hermansson at UFC on Fox 31 on December 15th in Milwaukee. Gerald, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing great. How you been?
I've been doing well, man. It's good to talk to you again. Now, were you away again this weekend? I know it seems like every time I'm following you on social media, you're cornering someone. Did you finally get a weekend off?
Yeah, this weekend I was at home, so that was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, no, it must be nice. It seems like you've known about this fight for a while. Obviously we talked after your win in July, but the plan was to always get on this Milwaukee card, right? Like you sort of had an idea this would be when your next fight would be?
Yeah, I mean, I was really hoping that I could get to fight at home again. I fought in Milwaukee, I think the last time was 2013 or something like that on a local show. And, when I saw the head in Milwaukee, I figured it would happen, and I was just kind of waiting for confirmation. And once I got it, I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, where does this rank in terms of life moments getting to fight in Milwaukee for the UFC? I mean, that must have been on the bucket list for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, this will be probably just below getting the belt. Pretty close.
Cool. Now, like I said, you knew about this fight for a while. How do you structure your training camp when you know about a fight this much in advance? Do you have to, change things up a little bit? Like, how do you go about, structuring a training camp?
Yeah, for me, it's pretty much the same. I know a lot of people say that, but I train year round. I don't really take too big of breaks. Maybe I'll, help guys focus on their fights and be more of a partner sometimes. Like, for Ben Askren's fight, I'm sure I'm going to help him. I gave Tyron a look for Robbie. I'm sure I'm going to be helping Ben for Robbie. I'm sure once Tyron's fight's coming up, I think he's fighting Colby next. I'll probably give him a look for that one too. But other than that, I'm training all the time. And even, when I'm given a look for a certain opponent, I'm still training hard because those are, both the guys I listed top-level athletes. So it's really just ramping it up a little bit more and just really getting dialed in on what I want to do for that specific opponent.
How many people have been hitting you up for tickets since this fight was announced?
Not as many as I thought, thankfully. I tried to put it out there right away, like, look, this is part of the reason that I wanted to be in the UFC is I'm not dealing with ticket sales. If I find out about a discount, I'll let you know. But other than that, like, you guys are on your own.
Yeah, I don't know why people have this idea that you get all these free tickets because you only get a few for close friends and family, and then like even then it's just like you don't. It's not like you're getting them like half off or anything.
Right. And let's be honest, I'm not nearly cool enough to be getting any like hookups like that yet. So why are you asking me? It's like you've seen me fight on TV maybe once.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things where I don't think people realize it's like you got to almost wear like a T-shirt that says I'm not Ticketmaster or something like that, just to give people the heads up, I suppose. So you're taking on Jack Hermansson. I know you wanted to fight Eric Anders, and Anders is fighting Elias. The week before or a couple weeks before on the Toronto card. Were you still happy with getting this opponent? Because obviously he's a guy who's going to make this fight pretty entertaining.
Yeah, no, I wasn't disappointed at all, and I wasn't really clamoring for the Eric Anders fight. That was just a name that kind of jumped out at me. And, he was a newer guy, and I thought it'd be good to kind of bolster myself off that. But Jack Hermansson's a tough guy, too. He's another tough European. I saw he's won, I think he's 4-2 in the UFC. He's got some good wins. Even his losses, he's tough. His last fight, I believe, was Talis Latis, and he all but lost that fight and really battled back. I think something must have happened to his knee. I don't know if it popped or he tore a ligament in there or something, but he should have been finished, and it looked like half of it was Talis Latis kind of giving up after he couldn't get him submitted, and the other half was Jack Hermansson just being tough, just super, super tough.
I was at your last fight in July, and I think anyone watching saw that obviously that first round was a little bit rough, and you were able to come back and get the finish. Is there anything you can do in camp to sort of change that? I mean, obviously you want to get off to a fast start and not have to take any damage early on.
Yeah, I mean, you could practice being more explosive and letting loose sooner in the gym, but it's all different fight to fight. I mean, you look at that fight, the guy had a really unique style. It wasn't anything crazy, but just he was a little bit longer than I thought. His timing was a little bit weird. And it kind of threw me off because he was kind of slow. It's almost like an off-speed pitch. You're used to something coming down the pipe so fast, and then all of a sudden when it comes real slow and you think you're out of the way or you think it's not coming anymore, and then you get tagged with it, it throws you for a loop a little bit. But, I've always thought to myself, and we've talked about sometimes I'm a slow starter, but really you look at most of my fights, I finish them in the first round. And even the fight before this, with Spicely, I came out guns blazing right away and actually put me in a bad position as well. So I think it's just really staying on my P's and Q's, and no matter if I come out slow or fast, really staying defensive minded and ready for whatever they're going to throw at me.
For training camp, anything different at all as far as bodies or anything at all that you're doing differently, or is it just business as usual? If it works for you, stick with it.
Pretty much the same as usual. I'm just staying in the gym, same guys. We've got a couple new bigger guys they're kind of figuring out their schedule right now here and there. That'll be pretty tough. We got a new up and comer, Jordan Newman, who joined the team and is training with us pretty regularly. He's I believe he was a D2 or D3 champ for Whitewater at wrestling, and really, really tough, strong kid. He's been a great addition to the team.
When does the weight cut start for you? This fight's a couple weeks away, actually more than a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm still pretty light. I'll end practice 95, 96, so I'm probably walking 2 or just below. So really for me, it's just kind of tightening up the diet a little bit, and then that I never really cut weight in the true sense of the term, but that fight week I'll definitely probably be working with Lockhart and Lath again, and really get the portion size down and everything else, trim all the excess away, and I should be on weight come weigh-ins.
How do you manage that with so much traveling you do, cornering other guys? Do you just have to bring meals with you? How do you sort of figure that out?
Well, I always try to make sure that it's not too close to any of my fights, because everyone can say what they want to, like, oh, I'll bring meals or I'm going to cook my own stuff. No one eats healthy on the road. Nobody. Literally no one. You eat at gas stations, you eat at restaurants. It just doesn't happen. Really what I try to do is if they've got a gym there, I'll try to get on the treadmill, or if there's a gym nearby, I'll get some rolls in. I'll do something to at least be active. But I know in my head, I'm pretty much phoning in that weekend, or if it's a UFC fight that week as far as food goes.
It's going to be a busy night for Rufus Sport on this Milwaukee card, which makes sense. Obviously, you guys are based in Milwaukee. How does the corner situation work out with so many fighters on the card?
Well, we'll definitely have our entire coaching staff back there, that's for sure. I'm actually bringing in one of my original coaches just because it's a fight close to home, and I thought it'd be really cool to have him back there. Nick Aguilar was one of my original guys, fought in the UFC before, has been around for a long time, and he'll be joining me with a couple of my other regular coaches to come out there, and then I'm sure, Duke Rufus, Daniel Wanderley, and our other coach, Joe Nichols, they're all going to be back there kind of just rotating between guys, and, we have 5 fighters on the card, so it's going to kind of depend on the lineup and who's going where, but I'm sure we got enough people to figure it out.
Are we going to see another finish in this fight? How do you see this unfolding on December 15th?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a finish for sure. I mean, I think I have like a 96% finishing rate or something like that. I only have like 2 or 3 decisions in almost 40 fights, so it's kind of live by the sword, die by the sword. I would like another knockout or TKO. I always say that, and they always end up, just taking a beating until I choke them. So smart money's probably on submission, but I'm hoping for the knockout.
What's next for you after this fight? You've gone on quite the run in the UFC in terms of your record. Where do you feel like this would put you in terms of the rankings and everything?
Rankings, I have no idea, especially because middleweight's pretty hotly contested right now. There's a lot of guys that are coming up, making a name for themselves, and there's a lot of guys that have been in there that are, like I know Luke Rockhold is talking about leaving, and a lot of the guys, Jacare and Weidman just fought in there at the top, but they're kind of getting to the end of their career. So rankings, I'm not sure where it puts me, but I feel like if I have an impressive victory this one, I should start being on some main cards and get a little more attention.
What video games are you playing right now? We talked about that earlier. What's on the docket these days helping you get through training camp right now?
Right now, I got the Spyro Reignited trilogy, so I've been going through that.
Okay. Are you gonna? What are the plans for Thanksgiving right now?
So I actually just had the early Thanksgiving with my family this last weekend because I don't really want to be around a bunch of people eating all kinds of food during normal Thanksgiving. It's kind of close. So for the actual Thanksgiving, I'll probably just be hanging out, training, doing my normal thing.
Good stuff, man. Well, we're looking forward to this card. UFC on Fox 31, December 15th. Gerald, always appreciate you taking the time, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media. And if you have any sponsors or shout outs, the floor is yours.
So yeah, if you want to look, just type in my name on Google. All my social media stuff will pop up right there. As always, shout out to my gym and Combat Corner and Diamond MMA, everyone that support me. And I'll catch you at UFC 31 in Milwaukee.